Now we have a big project coming up this next week as we take our Unit 3 test, Chapter 5 material. Now, not everyone had me for the appointment this week, and I've modified this. This is a Friday. I modified this from Thursday, and what we're doing is trying to get you ready for the big essay assignment next week here. There we go. Now I sent everyone a copy of this and I'll send it out again, but I want to go over the parameters of this. Now I did a video going over all of this as to what we're expecting, but in the review, these were the kinds of questions that I asked. And I know Sam was doing this, I did it, but not everyone had an appointment. So to put everybody sort of on equal footing, here are some of the questions that we asked. So, for instance, this formula right here. What's the name of that formula? Well, this is the functional form of the standard form of the quadratic equation. Now remember, we've been going over the A, B, and C, and then putting that into the quadratic formula. And then our last part, 5.8, we were graphing this and then learning some of the key words associated with it. So as we look at it, and on your paper, I give you a specific quadratic equation here. Now, I don't want to do that. I want that to be part of your quiz. But for instance, one of the things I said was if our A value here is negative, which graph would result from that? Again, the shape of these are parabolas. And we said the answer was graph number 2, that if A is negative, the parabola is going to open downward. Okay. Then we also mentioned, what was the name of this point up over here? Right there. And then later there. And we said that's called the vertex. And then I asked the question, and again, this wasn't for grading, this was for help at this stage. What is, how do you find the vertex? And you find the vertex by using the vertex formula, which is negative b over 2a. So you find out what your a term is, you find out what your b term is, and then get the x value. Once you get that x value, you then put that x value into this expression, and that'll tell you what the y value is. And that'll give you the vertex. Now, another question was, what's the name of this red line here, going what appears to be a vertical line through the center of the parabola? Well, that's called the axis of symmetry. And what is the axis of symmetry? We said it was whatever value you got for the vertex, it was that x value. So the equation of a vertical line is x equals a, and for the axis of symmetry would be x equals whatever the x value is in the vertex. And again, we go over that in our flipped classroom. Now also, we asked about the minimum and the maximum. Well, if A is negative, as we see in graph 2 here, the vertex will be the maximum. And if A is positive, as we see here, X will be, or our vertex will be the minimum. Okay, so again, let's do this one too. Finding the zeros. we said that was a kind of a synonym for the X-intercepts. So if this is a 0 here, we're back in an earlier section solving this by factoring. But in this case, you're going to have to use the quadratic formula because the one I gave you, doesn't factor. Okay, so this was sort of what we did, and we also mentioned the Y-intercept, and I don't want to make this too long. Now, I had a reminder this morning when I checked my emails, and I saw that one of the students had submitted the essay question already. Well, this is not due until next Friday. That is a week from today. And I'm looking for a certain form. As you go through college, I could remember when I was writing term papers back in my college days, that's a long time ago, and there are certain requirements. Well, this is going to be your requirement for the submitting of this essay. Now, I could call this like a math project, but I'm just calling it a written essay. Now, here's the form. So on loose leaf paper of some type, and I know some of you have been writing this up in, using Word and thing. Maybe you could do it that way. That would be nice, but I would accept this as handwritten, neatly handwritten work. You're going to write essay question on graphing quadratic equations. You're going to have your name, your section, and let's put a date there too. It doesn't hurt. Now remember, we said we're looking for an introductory statement that I gave you in an earlier video. And then I would include the written equation or the function statement that I have written here. So that would sort of be the introduction. Now, there are 6 points or 6 questions that I'm asking you to do for this that I showed on that whiteboard and sent you a copy of. And here's what I'm looking for. This format. So I have a lot to correct, and each part of it is worth points. And remember, we said this was worth like 10 points. So a big project for this test. Okay, so you've written something and you can write the equation. Now, the first question was, what is the vertex? So over here, I'm kind of writing, and I'm just not writing actual words, just showing you where the writing would be, how to find the vertex. Then over here, you're going to put like a little box, and you can put the one outside or inside, and then you're going to say what the vertex is. And that's, in a sense, an ordered pair, isn't it? Probably should have put the ordered pair down here. Okay. Then you go on and you do some writing describing number 2, which is what is the axis of symmetry. And again, I told you about that. The axis of symmetry is what your x value in the vertex is. And you're going to get the equation x equals that x value up here. I'll give you an example. X equals 5. So that's what you would put for number 2 in a box. Then for question 3, you're going to talk about finding the zeros. And again, I want you to be descriptive in prose, telling me about how to find the zeros, which are your x-intercepts. And you're going to put that in a box. Then you continue to do some writing about number 4, finding the y-intercept, where you substitute the x as 0 and then y equals something, and that's going to be an ordered pair. And that's what you put in box number 4. Now for number 5, you're going to say, is the vertex the minimum of the maximum? Well, again, you're going to put in words the description of what I showed in the 2 graphs that I had on the whiteboard as we started this off. And then for number 6, and this is the graph, a sketch of the graph. Now I've done 2. I've done one with A is positive and A is negative, one in red, one in blue. So I wouldn't give it away what the answer is. And then you're going to say just a short concluding sentence here, maybe over to the right or left, I should say, and give a summary. And this is how we do graphing of quadratic equations, period. Okay, now, I have this all on one page. I told you that chances are you're going to use more than one page. I just made it concise so it'll fit here. Now, the other thing is, do you see me showing any of the work how to find the answers? And the answer is no. So I'm not interested in the work on the essay part. What I'm interested in is the words describing the process and then these 6 answers. So it looks like these 6 answers are going to be worth 6 points, and the written part will be worth 4 points. And that's this next Friday's essay. All right.